All right, we're about to break down a story that's only a few sentences long, but believe me, it has one of the most dramatic scenes you can imagine. We're talking a literal confrontation between life and death at a city gate. So let's walk through this 2,000-year-old account from the Gospel of Luke, moment by moment, and see just how it all unfolds.
So our story starts with a very specific location. Not some mythical land, but a real town called Nain. Right away, that simple detail grounds the whole event. It's telling us, hey, this isn't a parable, this is being presented as something that really happened, in a particular place, on a particular day.
And into this ordinary town, we get this really stark and somber image, a funeral procession. The mood is immediately set. It's all about grief and loss. The story kicks off at what feels like an ending, one of the most final moments that we all experience.
But wait, that somber funeral procession? It isn't the only group on the road. At this very same time, another crowd is coming toward the town, and it could not be more different. This is a big group, and they're following Jesus. It's a procession just filled with life, with movement, with purpose, and they are heading straight for that same city gate.
And right here, this is the pivot point for the entire story. Think about it. A city gate is a natural bottleneck. It's where people come in, where people go out, and it's here that these two groups, moving in opposite directions with completely different energies, are basically on a collision course.
As they get closer, the contrast is just undeniable. On one side, you've got this crowd with Jesus, and on the other, you have the source of that heavy, sad mood, the second procession. This one is all about profound sadness, as a crowd from the town walks with a grieving mother and her dead son.
And to really get the depth of this tragedy, you have to understand her situation. This woman wasn't just grieving a son, she was a widow. In that culture, at that time, losing your only son meant you lost everything. Your future, your financial security, your entire family line. Gone. This was complete and utter devastation. So you have this incredibly dramatic scene playing out at the city gate. You've got the procession of life, Jesus, and this crowd just buzzing with energy. And then the procession of death, a dead man, his devastated mother, and a town just consumed by grief. Life and death are literally meeting face to face on the road. Now this is maybe the most crucial point in the story. The turning point isn't some big display of power. It's an act of profound empathy. Before anything happens, before a single command is given, the text makes it crystal clear that Jesus sees her, the grieving mother in her desperate situation, and is just moved by compassion. And that compassion immediately turns into action. The whole story now shifts. We go from observation to intervention. Because Jesus doesn't just watch this sad procession go by. No, he steps directly into it.
I mean, think about this for a second. His very first words, they're not for the dead man. They're for the living. He speaks directly to the mother, addressing her personal pain first. It's this intimate, compassionate command meant to comfort her before the reason she's even weeping has been taken away.
Then comes this really decisive physical act. He reaches out and touches the bier. That's the open coffin or stretcher that's carrying the body. Now, this was a radical thing to do. It would have been considered unclean, and it physically stops the entire funeral procession right in its tracks. The bearers just stand still. The whole scene freezes. And in that sudden silence, he speaks the words that defy every law of nature. It's not a prayer. It's not a request. It's a direct, authoritative order, spoken to someone who can't possibly hear it. Young man, I say to you, arise. This is it. This is the absolute climax of the story.
So, an impossible command is just hanging there in the air. The story now pivots from the one who gave the order to the one who received it, and we see the immediate, astonishing result.
And the text gives us the super clear three-step sequence of what happened next. Step 1, the dead man sat up. Just an unbelievable sight. Step 2, he began to speak, proving he was truly alive, truly coherent. And then step 3, and this is so crucial, Jesus gave him back to his mother. The act of compassion is now complete. He restored her family, and he restored her future.
Of course, this incredibly personal moment didn't happen in a vacuum. Remember those two large crowds? Yeah, they saw everything. So the final part of the story is all about their reaction and the ripple effect of this impossible event.
Their response is this powerful mix of awe, a blend of fear and just profound reverence. They praised God because they recognized divine power at work. And they immediately tried to process what they'd just seen, saying things like, a great prophet has appeared and God has come to help his people.
A story like this, there's no way it could be contained.
This personal encounter at the gate quickly becomes a public proclamation. The news just radiates outward from that little town of Nain, spreading through the whole countryside, carried by the voices of every single person who was there to witness it.
So this brief ancient story leaves us with a massive question, doesn't it? It shows us a head-on collision between despair and hope, between the finality of death and the possibility of life. It really forces us to ask, what does it mean when the inevitable gets interrupted, when the expected order of things is suddenly, completely overturned? It's a question that echoes far beyond the gates of that small town 2,000 years ago.